And after Disco Demolition Night, we left the ballpark in the state of disrepair that it was. Me, a guy named Carl Washington, a couple other people. And we ate dinner after the carnage we had just witnessed. We had a McRib. And all of us at the same time went, we'll never have this again for the rest of our natural lives.
So impressed were you.
They were horrible.
How you get so big eating food of this kind?
They're making our food out of people. Next thing, they'll be breeding us like cattle for food.
Ready your breakfast and eat hearty. But tonight, we dine in hell!
Oh, you should put that speech on tape.
He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
Hello, Chicago! Hello!
Hello.
Hello! Got a drink to that?
Welcome to Alternate Reality.
Bitching about casting before anything is even shot or comes out. She hasn't even had a costume fitting yet.
No, she hasn't.
And they're bitching about her. Why are they bitching about her? What's the problem? She had to leave she had to leave Twitter because...
Why they cast her, or she's a lesbian, or...
Because the character's a lesbian.
The character's a lesbian, or... Grant Gustin's going through the same thing. People are complaining
because he's skinny.
And they're body shaming because of the costume he's wearing. Well, Grant Gustin is skinny. Duh. Have you ever seen Grant Gustin on the street? He's skinny. He's not a big buff guy. The Flash is not a buff guy.
Well, they could do something with the costume to help that. John Wesley Shipp was not a big buff guy, and he was wearing basically a big muscle suit when he did the Flash.
He's portly now.
Well, now, yeah, but I mean, back in the day when he did the Flash TV series, he was walking around in a muscle suit.
Yeah, because
they went to the point where the muscles not only were sculpted into the suit, but they're airbrushed onto the suit too.
Got my own abs airbrushed to the suit.
But no, I mean, the whole bitching about, especially with, it seems like it's more so with actresses than anything else.
Yeah,
I mean, the chick who's playing Starfire, and the jury's still out on that. I've got to see what she looks like. Like I said, not that she's black.
If she's not orange, it's not going to work.
It's not that she's black. It's that she better be orange in that thing. And way back when they did Homecoming, they cast a black Mary Jane.
Yeah.
They're bitching about that. One other female actor, too. I forget who it was.
Well, you had the girl from the last Star Wars film, Kelly Tran. She left people complaining about it.
But she has been in 2 movies. These are people who haven't done anything yet. There hasn't been any footage at all of her as Starfire.
No.
The black girl as Starfire in the thing.
It's a set pick.
And for Batwoman, it's like, I don't understand that at all. What are you bitching about? The character is supposed to be a lesbian. They picked a lesbian. What is the problem?
And you're not even going to see her till December. They don't even start shooting these episodes yet.
But I don't know. I'm just so sick of fans, bitching about people that haven't done anything yet in the role. I mean, if they suck in the role, if they're bad actors or actresses, then complain about it. But you haven't seen anything yet.
It's like, I'm complaining because I'm on a computer and no one can see me. And I'm not using my real name. I'm using some name I made up. And so I can complain because no one can see me because, in the real world, if you actually did that, someone would kick your ass.
Well, that's what the end of Dogma was.
Yeah.
Jay and Silent Bob, they go to house to house to house.
And start beating the crap out of people. Hey, Joe, start 447.
Yeah.
You don't like me, huh? I'm sorry.
We at Alternate Reality do not endorse
violence
any sort of violence against anybody.
It's not the answer.
Unless it's Batman beating the crap out of the Joker. We do not endorse or condone any sort of violence outside of comics. No. Use your words, not your fists.
Not your fists or feet.
Use your words.
Or weapons or bricks or anything.
That's why you were given them in the first place. And this message has been brought to you by The Alternate Reality. Coming to you from the intersection of 111th and Kedzie, beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood, Alternate Reality, where all new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. This, of course, is The Alternate Reality, our weekly, semi-weekly, just about 4 times a month weekly podcast.
That would make it weekly.
I have had a pretty good, did I say 5 weeks
you said
out of
4.
the year?
Well, yeah, you said 4, but this...
No, I said out of the month.
Yeah, out of the month.
Out of the month. So shut up. Well, don't stop derailing me. Shut up. Zip it. Anyway, JR will be on the show at the end of this episode with a review. Yeah. Not quite sure what it'll be right now at this time. Should have a review at the end of this episode. So stay tuned. This, of course, is The Alternate Reality, not to be confused with the store Alternate Reality. The Alternate Reality, our podcast. And this is an all-news update. That's right, folks, news update. Now, is this essentially San Diego Comic-Con Part 2?
The comic stuff is San Diego.
Well, we've got other stuff, too.
All the media stuff is actually, one San Diego type story, but everything else is post-San Diego.
The comic news is mostly San Diego.
Mostly San Diego.
Okay, so let's get to it. We've got a full boat full of news today. First story up is from DC Comics, of course, because we're going to lead with comics first, and then media, and then wrestling. DC has some buyer's remorse when it comes to
Brian Michael Bendis.
Oh. Now, is this a for real thing, or is this just somebody bitching in the offices?
No, this was apparently something that happened. One of the most interesting things in San Diego and most conventions is you learn a lot of stuff at the bars you really don't talk about when they're on the floor. And there were people in the bars who were complaining about, we didn't exactly get what we thought we were getting.
What people?
Editorial people, salespeople.
At DC.
Okay. Who were hanging out in the bar, and they say these things, and everyone can hear them. It says, if you know who they are, you go, let me sit next to them because they're going to tell me stuff. That's how I found out Ella Coppell was moved over to Marvel. I'm at a con they're talking about, Coppell's going to Marvel. Cool.
Hey, can we get this gentleman another screwdriver?
Right. Can we get him another drink, please?
because he won't stop talking.
Right, he won't stop talking. So, sales of the books, well, you sent your Man of Steel's back yet, right?
No.
Okay, well,
I've got no notices about that.
The sales are not exactly what they expected. They were expecting, I guess, much larger numbers, and the Jinx World book, the numbers are so low that Pearl number 1 is getting, as an added bonus, an inventory Batman story that Bendis did way back then when he came out of the Caliber days. You'd buy the damn thing. Those books are not going to sell well. That was the main reason why Marvel would just release them, and they didn't advertise them. Under his DC deal, DC takes the full weight on all this stuff. They have to do all the advertising. It comes out of their pocket, not Bendis' pocket.
Well, we've talked about this before. Marvel did this stuff under the Icon line.
Yeah.
Or under the Icon label, I'm sorry. Icon label. And none of that stuff sold huge numbers at Icon.
No, you're talking 10, 15, 25 issues of Powers, and then Powers numbers kept going down when the book kept missing its deadline.
Scarlet, I'll give you a good example. Scarlet was on my FOC last week.
Yeah.
What's coming from DC. Mm-hmm. And so when I did my FOC numbers, I went back to my Marvel numbers to see what they did. And I had an inventoried Scarlet, and I still have it on the rack. Mm-hmm. So I went back and I re-inventoried my Scarlet. I moved them over from my Icon shelf to the Vertigo shelf. Essentially Vertigo.
Basically Vertigo.
But I re-inventoried those numbers. Those last 3 or 4 issues from Icon, single digits. Because my sales were single digits. Now Scarlet initially
huge.
Okay, well, not huge, but for what it was,
15 to 25 issues.
No, more than that.
30 to 40 issues?
Yeah. Number one. Okay, number 2 a little less. Number 3 a little less.
Drops
by the time you get to 7, 8, 9, which is what was still on the rack, I'm in single digits.
Yeah, by the time the book got to shipping like every 3 to 4 months. And so you go, oh yeah, Scarlet's out. What the hell is Scarlet again?
So I'm looking at my numbers on the FOC, and I cut them way down from what I'd originally put in on my order form, whatever month that was. Yeah. Because the thing wasn't selling at the end of its Marvel run. What makes me think that people are going to jump back on it, okay, when DC starts publishing it? And here's the thing that gets me about that. Why doesn't DC talk to anybody about this? They have a Facebook retailer page, which I'm on. It would have been easy enough for them to just ask, how did Scarlet do for you at your shops? At which point they would have had like 15 to 20 dealers across the country say, well, my numbers were this, or my numbers were that, or it sold great, or it sold terrible, it sold whatever. Instead, they signed this deal with Bendis, seeing dollar signs in the air.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that he did under the Icon line, I mean, it sold okay
books.
For Icon.
Those were boutique books. That's what they were. Those were projects. Vanity projects. But
they didn't sell worth a crap outside of the Icon line.
No.
If you threw them into the mainstream Marvel universe against those numbers, they were bottom of the barrel for those numbers. But Vertigo has the same problem.
Yeah.
Vertigo has always had the same problem. Vertigo's numbers, while you'll have something like Preacher or Sandman, will sell respectively well, most of the rest of the line will either be single digits or in the tens in double digits. They don't sell that well. They never have. No. The whole point behind Vertigo, I always assumed, was intellectual property.
Yeah. I can turn this into stuff. I can turn it into TV shows.
Yeah, we have
I
a
can turn it
Preacher
into movies.
We have a Preacher TV series because we did 70 issues at Vertigo.
Right, I got a Lucifer show because we did Lucifer. I can do a Books and Magic thing if I want to do a Books and Magic thing.
Or
because the book exists.
Or Losers.
Yeah.
Losers.
It exists because I can basically turn it into something and I can make some extra cash out of it.
Losers didn't sell worth a crap when it came out, but they managed to get a movie out of it. So it paid for itself.
Yeah, you'd cover all the costs. And so, and the imprint that we always talked about, the imprint with him taking all these minor characters, there's rumors that that's been delayed. And somewhere around the offices are calling him a Diane Nelson guy, which is the kiss of death in any company because she doesn't work there anymore. And so they're going, oh yeah, she hired him, and she's not here, and now we're suffering because of it.
Well, I wouldn't say suffering. Superman's numbers are good.
Superman's numbers are good,
and that's the only thing he's done outside of the stuff that he's bringing in from Icon.
Yes, the Superman numbers are good.
And I would assume if they put him on another book, like, say, Justice League, his numbers would be good on that.
Well, he won't be going to Justice League anytime soon because Scott Snyder has got at least 50 issues already.
If they give him, like, Doom Patrol, though, no, Doom Patrol has never sold.
No,
I don't think it's going to. No. I don't think it'd sell big numbers under Bendis.
Even Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol never sold.
Yeah, that perfect example. Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol. It generated a lot of heat, generated a lot of buzz.
Didn't sell.
And you know what? It didn't sell worth a damn hardly. No. 20s, at most, it was in the 20s.
Look at the Gerald Way Doom Patrol. Book's dying. Book's basically dead.
Yeah, all that Young Animal stuff. It's all dead. It's all dead because it didn't sell. It was all the last 5 or 6 issues. They rebooted it with a new number 1.
Yeah.
So except for that one, but the last 5 or 6 issues going across the board for all those things have been single digits.
Some people at DC, the people who are paying attention to the money, they're having buyer's remorse.
You know what? You buy Michael Bendis, okay, you put him on superhero books because that's what he'll sell. If you looked at any of his other stuff as being anything you're going to make money off of, stop.
You really want to
stop because you're not.
You could have picked up the phone and called someone at Marvel Sales because they all know each other in the business and went, so what do these books do? Well, we sold this much. Well, are we going to get more than that? And they would have went, no, this is what you're going to get. And by the way, we're not paying for the advertising cost. You suckers are.
Bye.
Thanks. We didn't do that for a reason.
Well, no, what they'd also tell them is, Bendis moved a lot of books for us in the superhero line, and he wanted to do this stuff, so we made this line for him called Icon.
Right, we invented
and for other artists.
And for other artists and writers. Mark Millar.
We made this line for them so that they could have boutique projects. Right. But what was paying for this was he was pushing superhero books. Our advice to you would be, put him on superhero
books. That's where the money is.
Okay, and let him push those.
Right. And you also paid for the TV commercial. It never ran anywhere. I had to search for it on YouTube this week. I had to look for it on YouTube. I'm like, is there a commercial on here?
Yes, it was.
I had to look for it. It was hard to find, too. I'm like, Bendis, Superman, whole bunch of interviews. Where's the commercial? And I had to keep looking. Bendis TV commercial. Oh, there it is. It was like a 30-second commercial.
Okay, moving on. Batman projects. What Batman projects are coming?
Well, you got Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder's Black Label book, Batman the Last Night on Earth. It's going to be 3 issues in double size, and as far as we know, this is Greg Capullo's last work over at DC. His contract is over with after this is done.
This is a Black Label book?
This is a Black Label book, which means it's going to be oversized.
It's going to be magazine size. Everybody is spinning their wheels about the size of this thing.
It's going to be.
It's magazine size.
Yeah, it's going to be magazine size. It's going to be weird looking. It's going to be different looking.
It's a magazine line. I don't know why everybody is twisting themselves into contortions about this.
It's a comic. It's going to be a comic. But Snyder,
it's a friggin' magazine.
Snyder said when they came up with the idea before it even was called Black Label, it's going to be oversized books. He just said it's not going to be comic book sized books. They're going to be oversized. They're going to be big. And people are going, well, we got to be expected to be comic book sized. No, that's not the point. We want them to be distinctive. And these are adult books, and older readers are going to read these. And then when the trade comes out, they'll read those. But they're not going to read a regular comic book size book.
Problem with the size with retailers is
where are you going to put it on the shelf?
That's the main problem. Yeah. Where are you going to put it on the shelf? And we have been burned in the past, and I hate to bring this up because it was one of many really good ideas that I believe was under the Paul Levitz regime. But remember Sunday Comics?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sunday Comics.
Yes. Wednesday Comics.
Wednesday Comics. I'm sorry, Wednesday Comics. The newspapers that they came as, they folded up to be comic book size, but they didn't really fit well on the rack, and they yelled like crazy right away.
And you yell, and you put them on the rack, you would rip them up.
But when they released all of those in a big hardcover trade, the thing's the size of one of IDW's art books.
Yeah, it's huge.
Well, there's really no place I mean, it's great. It's great. I mean, I've got one at home. I love it. But there's no place to put it.
Yeah, what shelf are you planning on putting it on?
So
Even at your house, what shelf am I putting this on? Well, I got to put it on the coffee table. Why? Because I don't have a bookcase which has this big, huge section for this, and then the rest of the books are all half the size.
So for me, I'm probably going to rack the Black Label stuff on the magazine rack because it's a magazine.
It's a magazine.
It's probably going to wind up there.
It's where it would be the best place for it.
Okay, moving on.
Mark Silvestri's been working on this book apparently for a couple of years. It's called Batman Joker so far.
That's the title of Batman Joker so far?
It doesn't have an official title.
So far where?
But DC's going, well, it's Batman Joker. Now, Silvestri's been working this for a while. He says he's got a 7.5 issue book. Well, obviously, you're not going to do a half issue. So we're
Bendis inventory story.
Bendis inventory story. So we're assuming it's going to be 8 issues. No release date. He's been working on this for the past couple of years. Everyone who knew him knew he was working on the thing. So I'm assuming we'll see it summer of 2019.
Okay.
And I mean, the promo art. I mean, the promo art's been popping up all over Instagram and all the places. The cover for the first book looks incredible. He's painting it too.
Silvestri does draw a good Batman.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he does a real good
his
Batman.
Batman's really impressive. Yeah, and it said that they got the cover print out there. It's been all over social media this weekend. It's really, really impressive looking.
Okay.
The first casualty of the Age of Heroes is Immortal Men.
5 issues, right? Or
6.
6 issues.
The first book to die of many. Because that book isn't. All those books are selling, aren't they?
But Jim Lee did the first issue.
Yeah, he did the first issue.
It didn't come out.
The first issue. Yeah. It was the first one announced, and it was the last one of the group to show up out of the original ones.
And it was the one that was late.
And it was the latest book of all of them.
Yeah.
It's doing Justice League Odyssey things, which is being pushed back on the schedule way, way back. Oh. That's never a good sign. But yeah, it's the first one to die.
Well, a couple of those books are selling okay, not great, but okay. I mean, they're selling better numbers than something like Booster Gold or Blue Beetlewood.
Okay.
They're in the 20s. Silencer is selling.
Yeah, Silencer
is actually selling okay. Silencer's
actually popping up on this season of Arrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's
fast.
She's one of the Longbow Hunters.
Oh, okay. Okay, and one other, I forget what it is.
Damage? Or Sideways?
No, Sideways is selling good too.
That'll go up because you got Grant Morrison co-writing the book.
Yeah, the 2 S's, Silencer and Sideways. Yeah. Both of those are selling okay.
Yeah, Morrison's coming in to help work with Dan to Die, which means the book will actually be readable.
But what's not selling is Terrific's Unexpected, Immortal Men.
Curse of Brimstone?
No, well, sort of, kind of. No, I would rank it right after Silencer and Sideways. Okay. But a little bit further behind. Yeah. Okay, now Marvel. Actually, we talked about this story before. I brought up the last news story because this is the first story that came out of the con. Marvel transferring all of their kids' books over to IDW.
Yeah, they're going to do all the kids' books. Well, they already had the deal with all the Star Wars kids' books.
Yeah.
Those are all being done over at IDW. They hooked up a deal for a brand new line. IDW is going to be doing all the work. The first books are Spider-Man, Avengers, and Black Panther. These will be books for kids, teenagers and such. Marvel will say, you got the characters, do whatever the hell you want with them, pick whoever you want to work on the books. We'll have a couple of our guys do some covers. So that's where the kids' books are going.
But I'm very troubled by the fact that Marvel is licensing out these characters.
Yeah.
They can't do a kids' book. Marvel is incapable of doing a kids' book with their characters. That I find absolutely amazing.
I'm quite sure they're quite capable of doing a kids' book, but they're like, this worked out so well with the Star Wars books, so why screw up a good thing and let them do these too?
They should be doing their own characters in their own book. And the other thing you should worry about with this is if they can license these characters out for kids' books, they can license these characters out for adult books too.
I wouldn't do that. I don't know that way.
Don't be so surprised. Marvel's owned by the mouse. Yeah. At some point, if the higher-ups at the mouse look at Marvel's numbers and go, why are we still publishing these? Wouldn't it be easier just to license these out? We've done that for decades with our funny animal books.
Well,
okay, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse have been under like 7 or 8 publishers throughout their publishing history.
Penguin on Donald Duck.
Penguin is his cousin.
You could do exactly the same thing with Spider-Man and the X-Men.
I don't think that'll happen.
Okay.
Marvel Knights 20th anniversary.
Oh, wait. Oh, who cares? Is Marvel Knights an actual viable imprint?
Marvel Knights, all of the Marvel...
Hey, have you heard? It's Paradox Press's 32nd anniversary. Who cares?
All of the Marvel Knights books...
It's Piranha Press's 40th anniversary. Who cares?
No, but you have to think about it. In the history of Marvel, if it wasn't for Marvel Knights, the current age of Marvel Comics wouldn't exist. This is where Saga got into the company. All the Marvel Knights books, all the limited series are coming out this year in new trades with new trade dress. And Marvel's going to celebrate the 20th anniversary by having Donny Cates as the guy in charge of...
You're going to celebrate the 20th anniversary by doing books.
Not doing books. We did books. When the first came out, people said, oh, it's a brand new line. I said, no, it's not a brand new line. we're just going to celebrate the anniversary. It's going to have a one-shot called MK20 #1, which is going to have Mike Diodato Jr. art on it, which means the art's going to look great. He's picked people like Tina Howard, Matthew Rosenberg, and Vita Howell to work on, I guess, one-shots or 2-issue limited series involving all the big characters out of Marvel Knights. And Kate's also said, well, since you can have me do this and you're going to basically let me in charge, I think I'll hang around with you guys for a little while longer so I'm going to extend my exclusive deal.
So are these also going to be known as Netflix comics?
Basically Netflix comics.
Okay.
You know what? When you mention Marvel Knights, I still think to this very day.
Punisher was an angel.
Yeah. No. This is when I first met Tim. And not to interrupt, but then Garth Ennis under Marvel Knights. But yeah, originally he was an angel. Okay, go ahead. This is when I first met Tim. He came in the store, and I specifically remember. You remember the Daredevil miniseries that's supposed to came out?
Which one?
Target?
Written by Kevin Smith, and it took one issue, and it's supposed to be 4 issues.
I think it was one issue on that thing.
And
it's never finished.
Second issue, 4 years later, you might as well stop asking for this book. It's not coming.
Yeah, it's not coming out. Okay, moving on to indie news. Pack is very busy. I know.
Greg Pak is very busy.
Yes. What's keeping him so busy?
Well, he's got 2 projects. He and Mark Lamming are teaming up on James Bond 007. A new ongoing coming from the folks at Dynamite starting in November. He's also writing the new Firefly ongoing from Boom. So the Firefly license went from Dark Horse to Boom. And so he's apparently doing licensed projects while he's also working at Marvel for the Hulk, because apparently he can write 3 or 4 books a month.
The Firefly's gone from Dark Horse to Boom?
Yeah, it's going to Boom.
The rest of the Whedon stuff, is that moving?
Just Firefly. Just Firefly.
There's changes in image to Saga? What are they doing with Saga?
Well, Saga's taking a year off.
Really? Why? Because between Saga and Paper Girls, he's like working himself to the bone?
The last issue you got, the last issue for a while, because he and the artist said, we kind of like to hang out with our families since we really don't have time to do that because we're working on all this stuff.
Vaughn does 2 books.
No. He writes 2 books, but he also works in television.
That's why I have to have seen his name on a couple
He's a consulting producer on a bunch of shows. And so he and Final Staple said, we're just going to take a break. We're taking a year off. We're coming back while we're taking the year off, come up with ideas, we'll work on stuff, we'll work on the thing, so when the book comes back, you won't have any gaps in shipping because you'll have so much of it in the can, you will they shipped every month. You hit ship dates. And for Image, it's a big deal.
Should I assume that includes Paper Girls, too?
Paper Girls is fine. Paper Girls is
How
fine.
can they do that and not
because it's easier. Apparently, it's easier to write Paper Girls, and you click Chiang, and it's no problem drawing it. But Staples is also. I think she's working on a couple other things as well. So they said we need time to reconnect with our families and hang out and just do some non-comic things together for a while because we've been working together for quite some time. And so the people in them are going, but what are we going to do? It's been optioned to be a movie. So between this year, maybe the movie will start production. You'll be fine. You'll be okay.
Okay, and that's it for comic book news. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to plunge into media news. Folks, there really is no other store that has as many sales as Alternate Reality. Beyond our signature sale of 15% off all new comics, we also have specialized sales peppered throughout the week, month, and year. For example, did you know that every Thursday is Ladies' Day at the store? That's right, ladies. Stop by the store and you'll save 20% off all of your purchases all day long. Ladies from 8 to 80 get a 20% discount on everything all day, every Thursday, only at Alternate Reality.
Hey everybody, good old JR here, hoping you'll stick around to the end of the podcast when I'll be reviewing the latest in Warner Brothers and the DC Animated Universe lineup, The Death of Superman. Yes, he's dead again. But first, it's back to 3 guys whose mothers are all coincidentally named Martha. Take it away, boys.
Okay, we're back with media news. Bo,
yeah.
I don't know if you've heard or not.
What?
But the Oscar committee has come up with some exciting new plans for next year's Oscar.
No, 2020.
Oh, it's not next year? It's 2020. Oh,
2020. So well, no, one of them will take place in 2019, but some of the stuff's going to take place in 2020.
But these exciting plans will have everyone on the edge of their seat.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
They're introducing a new category. It's called popular film.
What is it called? Is that category again?
It's called popular film.
It's called the film that made the most money this year gets an Oscar.
Now remember, we went from
which is like, what's the point?
We went from 5 nominees for Best Picture.
Yes.
To
10 because the popular films weren't getting nominated.
Do we still have that?
You still have 10.
Yeah.
So you still have 10 nominees.
Yeah.
Plus you have this new category.
Yes, you have this new category. Now Robert came with the idea. He said, you know what you call it? You call it the Steven Spielberg Award. because he's the guy who came up with the blockbuster.
You called the Academy is whoring itself.
That's more problem.
No, I call the Academy looking to bounce their ratings up. That's what it's more like.
When did the Academy Awards become a money-making machine for the motion picture arts and sciences community? If they want to do that, run an Academy Awards every month.
The Academy Awards ratings all over the world are huge. Now, the show's also going to move up a couple weeks. It's going to move up to like the first weekend, what is it, March or April? It's going to move up.
Yeah, they wanted to get out of the pack of all the
other shows. So basically, I guess they're jumping over the Golden Globes. And the show will be officially 3 hours long because the awards that I've always complained about, like Best Sound and Best Technical Director, those awards are going to be given during the commercial break.
During the commercial break, so you don't have to...
And here's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to come back from your tampon commercial. You're going to have David Letterman there or whoever the host is this year.
Hi. Yeah, Best Sound was won by Joe Smith.
This is what the Grammys did, and these awards were given prior to the telecast.
They still do that. They still do that. They've always done that with technical.
You got the luncheon before.
Yeah.
But what the Academy, actually ABC, because ABC's pushing these changes, they went, we realize you guys are celebrating film, but most of the people sitting at home don't give a crap who wins Best Sound. We're paying attention to the big awards. And these are the small awards, which are nice for their immediate families of the people who win them. But most people don't think about Best Sound and Best Costume Design and Best, they don't care.
Why don't you just cut to the chase? Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Film. Have a good night, folks. See you, bye.
Well, no, they won't do that.
No.
What you'll get is
run the in memoriam package.
Always miss one.
Do the 5 songs that nobody's heard, nobody gives a damn about, and throw some choreography thing in there where you get to see people dancing around, and you're done. It's an hour-long show.
No, 3 hours. It'll be 3 hours.
No, it's an hour-long show, and you charge the hell out of advertising.
You know what? They suffer from the same thing that the Grammys is suffering from, and that's too much fluff and unnecessary stuff stuck in. Because if you notice, the first major award is the
Best Supporting Actress.
Best Supporting Actress.
So they go Supporting Actress, and then they start working around it. When you get to the end, you're getting Best Director, Best Picture.
And they sling those up to all together at the last 10 minutes.
They're at the end. Okay, this person won Best Director, so this person's going to win Best Picture because it blends into each other. So what you're doing now is you're basically going, okay, actor, actress, supporting, film, all these other things. Screenplay, costume design, you're not going to see. You'll probably see visual effects.
You have to see visual.
Yeah, I like the visual effects thing. You'll get the songs, you'll get tributes, you'll get comedy bits, and you'll get a tight 3-hour show because they went, once you get to 3 hours, people sort of lose interest.
Also, is the pick for the Best Picture, too. As much as I love Shape of Water, I can count on my hands exactly how many people saw that movie.
It doesn't matter how many.
I know.
It doesn't matter how many people in the general public see the movie. It's who in the Academy saw the movie and who they voted on it. Yeah, it's not the Golden Globes.
It's not the People's Choice Award.
It's not the People's Choice.
And that's what the new category is, the People's Choice Award.
Yeah,
great.
So someone thought about that, cutting off your nose to spite the face. If you're going to come up with the most popular film category, if it happened next year, well, then Black Panther would be in that category.
Best popular. Oh, wow.
It would be, now next year it'll be in Best Picture category.
Good Morning America was talking about this, and the guy on there from Rolling Stone magazine said this will split. Yeah, he said this will split the vote for Black Panther to even get nominated for Best Picture. Yeah. And he's like, I don't see why it can't be nominated for Best Picture.
I'll be willing to bet that certain films like Black Panther will get nominated for Best Picture, but certain films such as Mission Impossible Fallout would get most popular film category.
Here's a scenario for you. What happens if a movie like Black Panther winds up in the most popular film category and not in the Best Picture category? Because basically, these two categories, what you're doing
they're going to blend together.
Well, no, they are not going to blend together.
What you're doing is
the Best Picture award is going to become the real award, and the most popular picture award is going to turn into the blockbuster video award.
It's going to be the MTV
it's going to be looked
award.
down on as being the bastard stepchild of the Best Picture award. And at some point, you're going to have a film like Black Panther, which is not going to be picked for Best Picture. It's going to get slotted into the ghetto excuse my French, of the Popcorn Award. And then you're going to have this hue and cry for, the Academy won't recognize this as an artistic endeavor. They're just looking at this as a money-making thing. And where's the artistry at that's going to be honored as a Best Picture? Well, it's not. We dumped it into this other crappy award. It's a crappy award. It's absolutely...
It's stupid.
It's a fan idea. It's a fan award.
That's what the MTV Video Awards are for. This is a stupid idea, in my opinion.
It's an incredibly stupid idea.
How old are the voters for the Academy? What are they, 80 or something?
No. It's anyone who is a member of the guild, which means you've got people who...
Okay, you got like George Clooney, Scarlett Johansson, you got Tobey Maguire, you got Leonardo DiCaprio. So they sit there and go, you know what? I saw Black Panther, but I can't rightfully make this a Best Picture nominee.
I am assuming there'll be some kind of firewall set up. If this film's nominated for Best Picture, it can't be nominated for Best Popular Film.
Yeah, I don't think you can cross over in both.
There won't be a crossover.
You might be able to. I mean, they might look at it.
Then you're doubling down. Well, this film, if it doesn't win this, it'll win this.
You could have Black Panther, have nominees in Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Picture, and Most Popular Popcorn, Best Rented, Highest Grossing Film, of the year.
Like I said, go with
BS category.
Go with Roper said, the Steven Spielberg Memorial Award.
You know what? The reason why I brought up Black Panther is because the minute they mentioned this award, that was a movie that everybody came up and said, "Oh, they're making Black Panther the Most Popular Movie Award. It's not going to be Best Picture."
Well, I think it'll end up being Best Picture. Be nominated for Best Picture anyway. You still got 10 films. So basically what you're doing is you're picking 15 films. So the films that don't make the cut could go into
the most popular one. How many nominations?
Well, they haven't said that yet. That's all the stuff that's still in flux.
If you've got 10 there and 10 for Best Picture, that's 20 nominations.
That's
insane.
I think it'll be 10
No, they've cut it to 3.
That's 3 hours. I think it'll be 10 for Best Picture and 5 for Popular Film.
No, they've cut it to 3 hours, so you can do 20 nominations for those two, and can every technical award that's out there.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get 10 blockbuster films nominated, 10 big money films nominated.
You just look at last year's top 10 grossing films, and those are your nominees.
And if they're nominated for Best Picture, well, then they're ineligible to be in the popular film category. You create a firewall.
Can you imagine how many people are going to scream about that? My film should be in the Best Picture category. I don't want my film in this BS category. But that Housewives and Bubba pick.
But remember,
I mean, this is supposed to be an artistic organization.
Remember,
at some point they're honoring the arts.
Who's coming up with the nominations? The people who make the movies are coming up with the nominations. So how you complain about something that you're part of? You're doing the nominations. It's not as if they're picking us to do it.
But it's supposed to be it's an artistic award.
Man,
that's the whole point behind the Oscars is artistic award. I mean, you might complain as much as you want about not seeing The Shape of Water. Ultimately, that is not the point. Right. The point behind Best Picture is whatever the best picture is.
The point is,
artistically speaking.
The point is, it was a damn good movie.
I loved it.
And it was also a genre film.
Okay, we got to move on. Star Trek. Bo, you have some Star Trek news for us.
God. Yeah, Star Trek became a horror show this morning. British director.
What are you talking about? Picard is getting his own show.
That's the least of the problems. British director C.J. Clarkson has been tasked to direct Star Trek 4. There's only one problem. No one's in it. Chris Pine's contract is over. Everyone in the original franchise is over with. Chris Hemsworth, basically today, they said, well, you don't want to pay us, so we're not doing it. So you're going to have a Star Trek 4 with no one from the first 3 in it.
Well, wait, what do you mean they don't want to pay us?
It's all about money. They're negotiating all their contracts, all the original of the J.J. Abrams thing. All their contracts.
Well, they signed 3
after
pictures.
Their
contracts are over with. They are not under contract with Paramount anymore, and so it's time to work for a new deal. Well, Hemsworth's going, my films make $1 billion. I'm not working cheap. And Pine's going, I was in Wonder Woman. I made a whole bunch of money. You're going to pay me more than you paid me for the first 3.
Well, as far as Hemsworth goes, he was only supposed to be in the one film anyway. It was supposed to be some time travel thing where he goes back and meets his dad.
Star Trek 4 plan was, it's going to be James Kirk and his dad working together on some mission in some way, shape, or form.
Time travel.
Yeah, time travel.
Or Parallel Earth.
Or Parallel Earth is something like that.
It could be a Dark Mirror universe.
Yeah, well, right now you've got a director, you've got a script, and you have no actors.
You might have to start fresh.
Then you can't call it Star Trek 4.
No, you can't.
Well, they should probably, all films across the board, including Star Trek, really need to get away from the numbering thing and just call it Star Trek name.
Well, no. It's Star Trek 4 because there's no official name for it because they haven't given it a name.
That's fine.
But right now we know. I mean, the Bond films is what, Bomb 22. They don't have names until we actually come into it. Yeah. This is tasked as far as the books are concerned. It's Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
Well, the books are screwed up because, like I said, you have no actors. So it's kind of hard to do a film with no actors.
Well, it could be recasting, or they might just do a different ship.
They're going to have to because I know the cast and each one of them have been in blockbusters.
No, you know what's going to happen? Paramount's going to cave. They're going to give them their money.
They're going to give them what they asked
because
for.
The excuse Paramount went, well, it's not like the Star Wars films make a lot of money. No, like, hey.
Don't be surprised if they decide just to reboot the franchise again.
But
that third film did not make any money. I mean, if you look at the 3 films in the Kelvin universe timeline, way up high for the first one, to knock a third off of that for the second one, to take that number and knock half of it off. The numbers have been sliding way down.
That's because
they're gonna give these actors a whole buttload of money to make a film that's going to make it less than Beyond.
That's because Paramount's always had this attitude of working with the cheap, and now it's caught up with them.
Well, Paramount in many ways is a lot like Warner's. They've got their head up their butts about the Star Trek.
They've been getting away with their comparison. What they told the actors was, well, it's not like the Star Wars films that make a lot more money.
Well, they
could be if you weren't so cheap and cut our budgets the way they are. Now, you also have the Quentin Tarantino film. That's quite a bit away, and it's probably not using anyone from either cast. It's going to be this fresh film. Star Trek Wrath of Khan's Nicholas Meyer has been hired to do 3 Star Trek movies for the CBS All Access thing, but the rights to that are in court, and so they're waiting.
Well, movies is a
relative term.
Yeah, it's a relative term because it's going to be TV
movies. They're going to be TV movies.
Yeah.
And of course, the high news was that Patrick Stewart broke the news. Yes, we're doing a Picard show, which is not Next Generation. We're showing you Picard at this point in his life, and that's all we know about it.
I watched the video where Picard made the announcement at the con. He said Jean-Luc Picard is coming back. It will not be Next Generation. It'll be a point in Jean-Luc Picard's life beyond what he did before.
Right.
And we really don't know anything else about it because at this moment we're still talking about it.
Because we announced it at this convention, and he went, "Oh, by the way, I'm doing this." And people went, "What? You're doing what?" I'll be willing to bet that it's going to be Jean-Luc Picard at Starfleet Academy running the place.
They've been wanting to do a Starfleet Academy thing forever over at Paramount.
You've got Kurtzman, who's running the TV franchise over at CBS All Access, and he said, "Yeah, there's going to be multiple Star Trek series coming out of this thing." Because, we don't have that much programming on this network.
Well, the thing I heard was Star Trek is going to become synonymous with anthology.
And apparently Klingon's going to look different for us, I guess.
Again.
For season 2. Again. Well, and you got Christopher Pike hanging out. So.
Yeah. And that's all the Star Trek news?
That's all the Star Trek news.
Okay. What else you got?
Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah, that's right, man. The Mad Max.
You're expecting a sequel. Don't expect to see that sequel anytime soon. George Miller's company is called Kennedy Miller Mitchell. Yeah. They're suing Warner Brothers for court because the studio...
George Miller, I should say.
Yeah, the studio acted really poorly. Warner Brothers asked for like 10 different changes on Mad Max Fury Road while they were making the film. They made Miller rewrite and redo the ending.
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
No, it doesn't sound familiar at all. They told him about the guy in charge of the town where Furiosa is. Well, you can't tell this story about him. You can't show this. You can't show this. You can't show that. And so they're claiming, well, the film didn't make any money. And KMM is saying, well, maybe the fact that you cost us an extra $45 million by interfering in what we were doing has something to do with the fact that the film didn't make money. By the way, the film made more than money.
It made a buttload.
It made so much money that you could go on Amazon right now and get the black and white version of it, which sold incredibly well for something that people already had. So it made a lot of money. Now, you're
talking Warner Bros., the company that spent like hundreds of millions of dollars on shooting footage for Superman movie that never happened in the first place. But they spent the money and they've got the footage, never done anything with it. Warner's is very well versed in pissing money down a hole and not ever doing anything with it or getting a project that can't be screwed and screwing it. Yeah.
Now, Miller has written 2 follow-ups to Mad Max Fury Road while they're doing all this. Warner said, well, can we have the case in California? And the judge in Australia went, no, the case is going to happen here. So Warner's going to lose a buttload of money on this because Miller's from Australia and they're going to get screwed. And he's going to get paid.
Okay, moving along. Walking Dead Season 9.
Coming.
It's coming. Well, of course it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
You got this 6-minute trailer on YouTube saying everything that's going on.
And we all know Rick is leaving.
We all know Rick is leaving.
And What's-Her-Face is leaving.
And Lauren Cohen's leaving. Lincoln said he's leaving because his kids are getting older, and he's tired of spending 6 months uprooting them and having them go to Atlanta every year. But he also said, my life as Rick Grimes isn't over with, which means Rick's not dying.
Okay, well, Rick
he's
can go on
going off somewhere.
That would be fine. That would make fans a lot happier.
We don't know what's going on with Lauren Cohen, but she's doing this whiskey foxtrot thing over at ABC. So she's got another full-time show, so they're going to have to find a way to write her out as well. Now, you're going to be seeing, apparently everything is all fine and dandy. This takes place a year after the last season. So Maggie finally has her baby, and she's 1 year old. Jadis is apparently happy and friendly. The helicopter's The helicopter's there. There's this new company called Toledo. They're adding a whole bunch of cast members, and the Whisperers are showing up because I forget what her name is. It's Miller. She's playing the leader, Alpha, the leader of the Whisperers. And of course, if you saw up in the trailer, going down and talking to Negan, who's down in the prison. And this is exactly how the comic went, where he goes down there and talks to Negan. The Whisperers show up, and Negan goes, "Look, you can't handle this crap. You're going to need me."
But now at some point it has to take a hard right turn away from the comic because Rick is leaving. Rick is going off.
So he's doing the Bill Bixby walking off into
I'm assuming
because that would be great if they played that music while he was walking down the road.
Because I guess, part of the season takes place in Washington D.C. where they're looking for artifacts because you're going to be riding around in horses and buggies, so most of the technology is basically gone. You run out of gas. So. Now, for Fear the Walking Dead, they're going to deal with most of the season with a tornado, which is going to be fun because you don't have to run for walkers if they're flying in the air through you, trying to kill you.
Well, the great thing about a tornado is you're going to have walkers rip the crap.
Yeah.
And
flying around.
You're going to have heads and torsos landing everywhere. Well, that happens in a regular tornado. These things are rotted. So, I mean, they're really going to fall apart.
And both shows are adding new members. Aaron Stanfield, the guy who was in the 12 Monkeys thing, he's joining the cast of Walking Dead. The guy, Dan Fogler from the Fantastic Beasts thing, is joining Fear. And Daryl Chill Mitchell, who's going to be the first character in either zombie apocalypse show, who'll be rolling around in a wheelchair. So you're going to have a guy in a wheelchair rolling around. And Brett Butler. Comedian Brett Butler. She's joining Fear. She's back, and she's playing like a truck driver.
How
y'all doing? Yeah.
Yeah, we should have killed him a long time ago.
Headed for the media news?
Oh no, you got one more story.
Oh, that's right. We gotta cover James Gunn. What's up with the continuing saga of James Gunn?
This story,
whether or not he's going to work on Guardians 3 or not.
This story is getting more and more interesting as you go. The cast of the film did a petition basically commissioning Disney to rehire him. The script that he wrote that they said he's not using, they're probably using the script.
Well, I read the other day that they're going to probably use the script.
Yeah, he paid for it. They paid for it. Batista says he's doing the film because he's contractually obligated to do it. He's not happy. And he also said, if you're not doing the script that he wrote, I'm really not going to be happy. So you really want to make him happy. And Gunn, even though they let him go, he's still under Disney contract. And studios such as Warner Brothers and DC went, as soon as you're available, we'll hire you in a heartbeat. And so Kevin Feige is basically going, look, you guys screwed this up badly. This is not looking good. You need to bring him back. You need to bring him back. And he said, oh, by the way, Chris Pratt's schedule is a little busy. We're starting in January. And if we don't start this film in January, Pratt's not going to be around until 2021.
And you need Star-Lord.
And you need to have Star-Lord because this film is supposed to be the last of the original cast. And so he says, Pratt, even though they push back Cowboy Ninja Viking, Pratt's schedule is open only for 3 months, and this is the 3 months in which this film's going to happen.
I thought that this next film, though, was not supposed to be Star-Lord centered. It was supposed to be Gamora centered.
Well, no one knows what it's like because no one.
Yeah, I know Gamora's dead.
Gamora's dead,
which doesn't mean anything.
She'll pop back up. So is a Red Skull because he said, "Well, yeah, Red Skull's back because we saw him in Avengers."
Because we recast him.
Yeah, we recast him as the guy from Walking Dead. But the script is there; they own it. He's still under contract. He's still getting paid. And Feige's in the background going, "This is just not looking good. It's making us look stupider every day." And by the way, we folks at Marvel Studios, we had nothing to do with this. This was you guys. You guys did this.
So he's still getting paid.
Yes, he's still getting paid.
They're using the script.
He's still under contract. They're going to use the script.
And he's already issued an apology, which he necessarily didn't have to do.
He's apologized a couple of times.
Right,
he apologized when he was hired for the first Guardians film. Then he apologized again after this all came up. And the other point is the people who basically posted this, they overplayed their hand and kept talking about it. And so people are going, this doesn't look good. You fired him because of these jerks. The guys who are complaining about him are jerks.
It's like I said earlier, Guardians is probably their best franchise. They need to fix this as soon as possible.
What did I say when we did the last show? By the time November, Christmas rolls around?
Yeah.
James Gunn rehired at Disney. He apologizes and he went on TV and he said everything's fine.
I've said from the beginning, all they need to do is just bury this in another announcement. That's all.
Yeah.
Said this last time. Do the Fantastic Four casting announcement, and then, oh, by the way, James Gunn's doing Guardians, and he'll be starting next week.
Yeah, starting next week. Because, and also which Mike is going as well, he may not be doing Guardians 3, but we want him to do other Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Disney.
And they're going, how much money do we make for you? Yes, we work for you. How much money do we make for you?
Well, this gets into that whole Pixar, Marvel most favored nation status over at Disney.
Do our work.
Well, which Disney has been very happy with at Pixar and at Marvel. Yeah. We will leave you alone. You make us money. Right. We won't bother you. Right. Well, this is them bothering.
This is them bothering you and going, you're going to cost us money by doing this. Because any film that comes out after this, the first question at all the press conferences is going to be, so what's going on with James Gunn?
How's James Gunn?
And you're going, well, okay, we can't sell the movie now. We're screwed.
Okay, that's it for media news. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to do wrestling news.
Brother.
Located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in the heart of beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood, Alternate Reality is the only brick-and-mortar store that discounts all new comics 15% off every day for everyone, and that's been since 1994. And all brand new first issues are discounted at 25% off every new Comic Wednesday. So stop on down and save some money. And we're back. Wrestling news. We have not done wrestling news in a long time.
Yeah, we hinted at the last one.
Let's knock off a couple of stories. Bo.
Yes.
Cazz.
Yeah.
I
Remember when Cazz came to WWE and he had an extra Z to his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Big Cass is now going on.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yes, he's going to the indie circuit as Big Cazz.
Cazz.
Yeah. And of course,
he come up with that all by himself, or did some other genius come up with that?
Well, his fake name was William Cassidy, so it really wasn't that hard to come up with that thing. He just basically was fired. So don't expect him to come back anytime soon for a couple of reasons. Going off script with a promo, blowing up a rehearsal, abusing an enhancement talent, beating up a midget, destroying a bathroom door on the bus so that people were driving around in the bus with a bathroom which was cracked out, which means everything everyone did in the bathroom was being able to be smelled from everyone sitting on the bus for 3 hours. And various other reasons other than the fact that he was a big you-know-who supporter, and it was apparently 9 times out of 10 unpleasant to a certain number of people in the locker room.
Why is he such a mental defective?
I'm assuming Vince pumped him up. You're a guy. You're a big guy. I like big guys. I'm going to make you a big single. The other guy, I don't need him. You're a big guy. You're going to be a main eventer. And when he became a main eventer, people went,
but I can't talk.
No. He could talk. But
he can talk okay. He's not stellar by any means.
He wasn't a great wrestler. So he wasn't able to hide his weaknesses. So yeah, he's out there. September, he'll be out on the indie circuit. Showing up at a bowling hall near you.
Hey, VFW halls need love too.
Halls need love too. I agree.
The end is near for the Hardys?
Both Hardys.
Really?
They're both having physical issues.
So they're not woke, but they're broke?
Well, Matt said that his lower back and pelvis are actually fusing together.
From
doing those double team leg drops.
Well, stop doing them.
Well, he's cut. He actually isn't doing them anymore because it's something he and Jeff were doing. And he's going through therapy and he thinks he's going to be fine. Jeff is limiting the swanton because it's kind of starting to affect his back.
Well, yeah.
No, really?
Yeah.
That's like Mick Foley saying, I don't think I should probably get hit in the head anymore with chairs because I can't remember my kids' names anymore.
Yeah, I can't jump off buildings anymore because it hurt. So limited schedule, less work, less physical stuff. Both are working quite well with the limitations right now.
More bits?
Yeah, because Matt doesn't even have to wrestle anymore. He just shows up, acts like a goopy son of a gun, wears his funny outfit, and people
let Bray Wyatt do all the heavy lifting.
Do all the heavy lifting and all the
he's the new guy anyway, technically. Bray Wyatt's the young guy.
Yeah,
he's a new guy.
Yeah, he's a new guy. And you'll do it. And Jeff's got the feud, with Nakamura, and that's working out fine. And he works a little. But, Jeff's got his musical thing going on. And I would imagine when this is all over with, let's say a year or so from now, they probably work next year's Mania, maybe the Mania after that. They're not going to have problems finding work with the WWE. Matt's going to end up joining the damn writing staff. He's smarter than most of the writers they have now. And Jeff will probably end up being a trainer at the Performance Center.
Hey kids, do not jump off the top rope.
Don't jump off the top rope. Do this. Don't do this. Do this. Do this. This is how you cut a promo. This is how you come up with a visual look. This is how you sell a character. This is what you do. And he's drifting into Brother Nero every once in a while. So he's going into the other half of Woken Matt Hardy. He's going into that version, painting his eyeballs and closing his stuff. And he's the charismatic enigma. All the stuff he was doing over at Impact.
Also stuff that allows him not to have to jump backwards off a top rope and land on somebody and get his back all screwed up.
Yeah. I do like 3 swantons a year. I do it for the big shows only.
Any more wrestling news?
Oh, we got the Hogan thing. He's been reinstated.
Let's take a moment to talk about Hulk Hogan.
He's been reinstated, but the New Day and...
all of the New Day or just one of them?
All 3 of them.
All 3 of them.
They're like, when you feel men come back, they're going, we're kind of indifferent.
Indifferent doesn't sound good.
And Titus O'Neil's the same thing. He goes, I don't really care. I guess there were people back there who didn't feel like shaking his hand. Mark Henry said, I trust him.
I would probably venture that Hogan probably went towards those guys first to try to shake their hand and they looked at him like, really? Really? You?
Now we're going to take a break, and when we come back, JR will be here with a review of...
Hold on, Lex. I'm picking up something.
Good grades deserve a reward, and at Alternate Reality, we make that an actuality. If you're a grade schooler in the Chicagoland area and you get a report card, then you're eligible to join our Good Grades Club. Each A gets you a 2% discount, and each B a 1% discount, up to a possible total of 25% off based on your grades for this marking period. Just bring in your current report card, and we'll issue you a Good Grades Club card, and every time you make a purchase, that's the discount you'll get. So stop by the store and get the discount you deserve for your good grades.
Hello everybody, good old JR, Jim Rakowski here, back with another media review, and today it's the DC Universe animated lineup's latest entry, The Death of Superman. Yes, he's dead again, but this time you'll believe a man can die.
I got the alert. What's up?
Initial reports are some kind of creature.
If anyone's watching this, send help. This monster's killing everyone.
3 leaguers down and we only just got here. Need backup now.
This creature has not been identified and is rumored to have left members of the Justice League wounded or near death.
There's one thing I can't stand. It's a bully.
You can't go back after that thing. It's suicide.
I have to get back to work. This city needs me.
You think it might kill Superman?
It would save me a lot of trouble.
How many times can Warner Brothers and DC Comics kill off Superman? Didn't we just go over this in Man of Steel's demise in Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman a mere 2 years ago? Of course, that was followed by his rebirth in Justice League a year later. And indeed, with the release of the 33rd, can you believe it? 33rd original film in the DC animated universe, the series almost seems to be repeating itself. The very first DC animated film was Superman Doomsday, released 11 years ago. And like that 2007 inaugural feature, The Death of Superman is based on the multi-issue comic book event published by DC between 92 and 1993. Director Bruce Timm gave us his version in Superman Doomsday. In this new version, the senior director is Sam Liu, who's overseen 7 of the last 9 entries in the series, beginning with Justice League Gods and Monsters, and while his track record hasn't scored very well with me, this newest entry is far and away the best work he's done. Now, repetition aside, The Death of Superman is a lot of fun, both visually and in the dizzying array of characters and subplots that Liu, co-director James Tucker, and screenwriter Peter Tomasi effectively juggle in the film's efficient running time of 81 minutes. The animation, too, represents a welcome and colorful departure from the faded style on view in recent entries like Batman Gotham by Gaslight, and the script widely assumes that you, the audience, are very DC Universe savvy, and you don't need to be bogged down with a lot of backstory. Now add to that a nibble collection of voice talent, some of it old, some of it new, and you have a really engaging piece of entertainment that could stand with the best of the DC animated line. So the Justice League is fully organized and operational in the film's prologue, and we watch several members back up Superman as he foils an attempt to kidnap Metropolis's Mayor Booker. by the crime group Intergang, which is equipped with advanced technology from the planet Apocalypse. When that alien tech is analyzed, it suggests the involvement of Lex Luthor, voiced by Rainn Wilson, who's currently under house arrest with an ankle monitor. Now, whoever thought that was a good idea, but Luthor denies all involvement. Of course, he's lying, and we discover his various projects in the basement of LexCorp, which are designed to defeat Superman and to reinvent Luthor as the hero of Metropolis. But Luthor, Superman, and the world at large shortly are going to have bigger problems. A meteor from deep space crashes into the ocean, landing near the undersea kingdom of Aquaman, voiced by Matt Lanter, and crumbling to reveal an apparently invulnerable killing machine that'll eventually be dubbed Doomsday. The creature's origin and purpose remains unknown. When Martian Manhunter attempts to read his thoughts, there's nothing there. But beginning with a few unfortunate Atlanteans, Doomsday carves a path of destruction, exiting the sea and heading for Metropolis. Multiple members of the Justice League respond to the threat, but the combined powers of Wonder Woman, voiced by Rosario Dawson, Green Lantern, Firefly's Nathan Fillion, Flash, Christopher Gorham, Cyborg, Shemar Moore, Batman, Jason O'Mara, and Martian Manhunter are no match for this apparently unstoppable threat. Even Luthor, who throws his own technological might against the beast, fails in his attempt. Eventually, only Superman stands between Doomsday and the Earth's destruction. He succeeds, of course, but at a terrible price, hence the title. While the ongoing battle with Doomsday supplies the film's requisite combat and chaos, Death of Superman's dramatic and emotional content arises from the relationship between Clark and Lois. Side note, Clark is voiced by Jerry O'Connell, and Lois is voiced by Rebecca Romaine. You may remember her from the earlier X-Men films. They are real-life husband and wife, here playing Clark and Lois. Now, in this iteration, Lois is dating Clark, but doesn't know yet that he's Superman. When she meets Ma and Pa Kent for the first time, Clark's inexplicable insistence on silencing his parents whenever they try to talk about his past confirms Lois's suspicions that her boyfriend is withholding a terrible secret. We know what Clark's concealment is, simply part of his effort to protect the people he loves from Superman's enemies, and there's a few quick welcome references to Richard Donner's Superman films where that dilemma was first explored on the big screen. The conflict comes to a head over a tense lunch in a tavern owned by Superman's #1 fan, Bibbo Babowski, where Lois is startled by one revelation after another, and then suddenly Clark is gone, called away to confront Doomsday just as things get really interesting. Now, The Death of Superman is just the start of a 2-part DC animated miniseries, and the breadcrumbs pointing toward the future developments are sort of strewn throughout the film. The end credits, very Marvel-like, are punctuated by no fewer than 4 brief scenes pointing to the next installment, Reign of the Supermen, which is due in early 2019. There's a preview of it that's included on the disc extras when you buy this. For me, the most intriguing snippet was the glimpse of Dr. John Henry Irons, also known as Steel, who's voiced by Cress Williams, now better known as TV's Black Lightning. Steel is expected to feature heavily in the forthcoming Reign of the Supermen, and Williams has already proven that he's a commanding presence. Superman may be temporarily dead, but the future of the DC animated line looks livelier than ever to me. Now, out of a possible 4 stars, I give The Death of Superman 3.5. This is good old JR. Thanks for listening. Come back soon for another review.
Wasn't that a great review?
That was a hell of a review.
That was a great review. I am amazed by how great that review was.
I gotta go see that movie right now.
That JR is incredible. And that's going to do it for us today. Gentlemen, you have any final thoughts, final comments you want to add before we get out of here?
The Idris Elba Bond thing is a rumor. Elba already said he's too old to play the part, but thanks for playing.
That's sad.
I would love to see him as it. I know he said he's old. I know he did.
He wasn't going. He said, "I'm too old," but I appreciate the honor of asking me to play the character.
Or could this be because he may be wanting more zeros on the check?
No, it's not about money. It's not about money.
He's never been a greedy person.
Idris Elba is
Idris Elba works as a DJ on his spare time. Idris Elba's never going to stop.
But he's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, he's got Luthor. Besides, he's doing more Luthors.
He's still going to do Luthor?
Yeah,
Luthor.
Yeah, they got 3 more of them coming out.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Rodney? You got anything?
I'm holding off on saying anything about Bond right now.
Okay.
I was berated for that.
Okay.
I still stand by my convictions, though.
What convictions? Are you convicted? When were you?
Yes,
what were you convicted of?
Yes, he was. Well, he got on parole.
And that's going to do it for us, folks. Thanks for listening. As always, you can find this show, and you can find Bo's News, and you can find JR and Vito's reviews, and you can find out all about the store's shipping at myalternatereality.com. You can also find links to the shipping videos that I do every week and other wonderful stuff. Like I said, myalternatereality.com. We're out there on the web. The website's been up for like 15 years now, I think. No, longer than that. JR's first reviews are from 2000. Ooh. So it's been almost 20 years. I dating myself almost since 2000. But anyway, myalternatereality.com. And until next time, this is Comic Book Man. Rod.
So long, kiddies.
Bo.
Happy trails to...
And of course, from me, bye! Thanks a lot for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please like and share it with all your friends. We value your feedback, so drop us a question, comment, show idea, or complaint either at aircomics@msn.com or, if provided, in the comments section down below on this platform. The opinions expressed in this episode are solely those of the individuals and not necessarily those of Alternate Reality Incorporated. This show is, as always, coming to you from the Alternate Reality Comic Shop, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie, serving Chicago comics fandom since 1994.
Elvis has left the building.